What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to talk about how and when I got diagnosed with schizophrenic. So it's going to be a little story time. So, yeah. So I got diagnosed in the year of 2019. So it hit right around the time COVID hit. And I kind of think I was the reason for COVID, y'all. Let me not toot my own horn. But nah, for real though. It started in 2019. And, yeah, so like basically I was hearing the voices, but I didn't realize that they were not my voices because they were thoughts and they were coming from people. But I could never see nobody actually say it because around the time I was living with my dad, in Texas, and I had 2 jobs at the time. I worked at Walmart and walk-ons, and so I kind of heard it like, okay, so one time, let me tell you about the story, how I heard the voices and I told my sister about them. We were smoking weed, and I don't know if we were smoking, and we were sitting in the car, and I heard my friend voice, and I heard my other friend, like I heard 2 of my friend voices talk to each other, and they was talking about me. They was talking about my music, how I was good and how I sucked and everything like that. And so I told my sister, I was like, I hear them talking about me, and she was like, what are you talking about? Those are just voices in your head. That's not really people talking. And I was like, yes, it is. It's really people talking. It was so loud that it heard like it heard like they were sitting outside of the car, like really talking back and forth about me, but it was nobody outside of the car. But that's how it felt. That's how I heard it. But my sister was like, those are just voices in your head, da 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 da. So then that's one incident that happened. And then another incident that happened was I was staying at my boyfriend's house, and we was in the shower, and I heard his homeboy, and I was like, yo, homeboy is in the closet. He was like, no, he's not. No, he's not. And I kept saying it. And then we finally moved and got into the bed, and we was staying with his stepdaddy at the time. And then we moved and laid down in the bed. And I was like, yo, homeboy here. And I was getting all loud and, crazy or whatever. And so his stepdad said we had to leave. So we ended up leaving and sleeping in the car. And we literally stayed in the car all night. And I was up all night talking to the voices. Like, I hear these voices, and I was talking about them the whole night. And then I don't remember nothing else but just waking up in the car. It was so crazy. And then let me tell you about this another story. That's 2 stories of when I realized that the voices were not my voices. And another voice was when I was working at Walmart, and people would come in my line, and I would hear them saying, is she woke? Is she woke? Or she ugly? She ugly? She's stupid? She's stupid? And I would hear it, but people would have masks on, so I couldn't really tell if it was coming from them or if it was in my head or if it was, I never knew. But the voices sound so real, like real humans talking about me. So that night, I know I went home and I cried to my dad. I was crying. I was like, I think people were talking about me at my job. I hear voices and stuff, and I was crying. He was like, I hear them too. Da da da. He was saying how he hear people talk about him too and stuff like that. So after I heard that, I didn't take it serious or whatever. But then me and my sister, we was still smoking I was still smoking at the time, and I didn't realize what the smoking was doing. It was making the voices worse, and it was making me act crazy. So me and my sister just got done smoking a blunt, and I was finna literally jump off of the balcony. We was on the level 2 of an apartment building, and I was literally finna jump off the balcony trying to go outside because the voice was saying it be a young boy outside. They kept saying he outside waiting on you and stuff like that. And I was like, oh my God, he outside. And I was hearing that voice, and it wasn't even just talking about just NBA Youngboy. It was talking about everybody that's outside. Like, it was just saying everybody, like, and I was like, who outside? Who outside? And it was like, NBA Youngboy outside waiting on you. And I was like, let me go outside. My sister wouldn't let me outside because I kept telling her that that's what the voice was saying. But she was like, girl, you're not finna go outside. Nobody outside, da, da, da. And so I was finna jump off the balcony. She started crying. I said, okay, let me stop. when she started crying. So I got off the balcony, finna jump or whatever. I got off of it, and I was like, laughing. I was just thinking everything was a joke. And then about maybe a couple weeks or maybe even days later, my mom and my brother came up there, or maybe even the same day, but they had both came up there, and they was like talking to me, and it was me and my brother, and I was like thinking in my head that my family is setting me up. Like, my family is making me think, like, my family is making this all, like, I kept saying my family put up cameras everywhere. My family got people following me, watching me, because they were saying stuff that only I would know. Like, they were saying, like they would be, like, talking about me, like, when I'm in the shower, like, they'll say, you washing yourself, you washing your underarms, oh, you just hit your elbow, oh, your legs is folded, you walking with your legs, whatever. Like, they would just say stuff like that, like stuff that I would only know, like, you got a black bra on, and it's like, what? How do you know? So that's why I thought that cameras was watching me, and I thought everybody was following, everybody that was around me. I felt like my family had set them in place to do what they was supposed to say what they were supposed to say at the time to say it, because I thought it was all a setup, and I thought my family was setting me up. And so then me and my dad got into an altercation. I was walking to his door, and he literally came out like, don't, like on me, like he didn't want me to get in his house or nothing, because I was saying, dude, y'all better stop this, y'all better stop playing with me. And he was like coming out the house and pushing up on me. So we had kind of gotten a quarrel, because I had hit him and everything. Then we started rolling all on the ground, and then the police came. They sent me to a mental home. And then I think that was after the fact that I went to a mental home with my mom and my dad, my brother. My mom and my brother came up to when I was in Texas, they came up to Texas. And then that when I was talking to them, my brother, me and him got into an altercation too, and we ended up fighting. He pulled out one of my braids and everything, and I was so mad. I went to the apartment bathroom, and I started screaming. I said, y'all set me up, da, da, da. I was kicking stuff. I done broke a cabinet and everything. Like, I was going crazy. I was like, y'all set me up, y'all set me up. And so then after that, I went to a mental home. So I was going to mental homes back and forth around 2019 and 2020. And like around 2021, 2020, I went to a rehab so I could start smoking weed, because I realized that the weed was the one that was making my voices louder. But even when I went to the rehab, that's when I found out I was pregnant. And I never stopped smoking weed until literally probably 2 years from now. So in 2024, that's when I really stopped smoking weed, because the weed was making the voices worse, even though the voices are worse already without even smoking. They're literally the same, but I act crazy when I smoke weed. So the voices are the same, but it's me that changes. So I had to stop smoking weed. But yeah, so I literally just wrote everything down, and I didn't even read everything. But yeah, so around the time before I got diagnosed, me and my friends, we used to party, we used to go out, we used to smoke, we used to drink, and we used to be just chilling out there, chilling out at the parties and stuff. Like, we used to be popping at the parties. Like, everybody loved us. Like, everybody loved me. Everybody just was like loving me. So we used to go to parties like every weekend, and I started hearing the parties I started hearing the voices at the parties and stuff. And so then I was like, okay, nah, I gotta chill on parties, because they doing a little too much for me. So, but yeah, at Walmart, when I used to work at Walmart, they used to be in my line saying, is she woke? Is she woke? She ugly, she ugly, she stupid, and all this other stuff. And then one little altercation, I'm not gonna tell you exactly what happened, but, well, I'll tell you. Like, I heard my friend talking about me, and I heard her, and I feel so bad now, but I punched her because I felt like she was talking about me. I feel so bad. And she was like, she just started crying. She was like, I'm not talking about you. But I swear it was real. Like, I swear it was real. But she was saying that she wasn't even talking about me. And I feel bad now. But yeah, so it was really tough when I first got diagnosed, because everybody was saying it's all in my head, and I started to believe it was all in my head. But then I would say it's not in my head. It was a setup from my mom and my dad, and I thought my mom and my daddy was setting me up. Now, of course, I don't think none of that. Now, of course, I think it's God, and I think that it's spiritual, and I think it's a higher purpose. But let me make sure I got everything. I think I got everything. But anyways, so I got diagnosed in 2019. Still diagnosed to this day. And yeah, I'm just living life now. I'm finally opening up to this because it's been so long that I haven't talked about it, and it's time to talk about it. But anyways, that's it. Peace. Love y'all.